My beloved child, there are moments when the road behind you no longer feels like home, yet the road ahead is still hidden beneath the morning mist. You stand between what has ended and what has not yet begun, and that space can make your heart feel uncertain. You ask whether you missed something, whether you waited too long, or whether the closed doors around you mean that nothing good is coming. But listen to me. An ending is not always a loss. Sometimes it is the quiet way I make room for what could not enter while your hands were still full of the past. My beloved child, I know how hard it is when the plans you trusted begin to change. You had pictured a certain future. You imagined how the pieces would fit together. Then a conversation shifted, an opportunity disappeared, a relationship changed, or a path that once seemed certain became unclear. Yet even here I have not lost sight of you. I am not standing far away waiting to see whether you will find the correct direction alone. I am present in the road you cannot see. I am preparing wisdom for the choices ahead, strength for the moments that will stretch you, and peace for the questions that cannot be answered all at once. My beloved child, a new road is opening before you, but it may not look like the road you expected. You often imagine a new beginning as something bright, obvious, and immediately exciting, but many new beginnings first appear as disruption. The old rhythm stops working, the familiar place becomes too small. What once comforted you begins to feel empty. Think of Abraham when I called him to leave the land he knew. I did not give him every detail before he began. I gave him a direction and a promise. He had to step away from what was familiar before he could understand what I was building through his obedience. You want the whole map because uncertainty makes you nervous. You want to know where the road will lead, how long it will take, who will stay beside you, and what it will cost. But if I showed you every turn at once, fear might speak louder than trust. So I give light for the next step. That step may be a simple conversation. It may be a decision to stop returning to something that keeps weakening you. It may be the courage to apply, begin, forgive, rest, or ask for help. It may not look dramatic, but a small, faithful step can change the direction of an entire life. My beloved child, do not despise what begins quietly. A doorway does not announce every room beyond it. A bridge does not reveal the whole landscape from its first stone. You learn what lies ahead by walking with me, not by controlling every detail before you move. I know part of you is afraid that the new road will demand more than you can give. You look at your weakness and think you are not ready. You remember past failures and assume they are evidence that you will fail again. I have seen every place where you fell, and I have also seen every time you rose. I have seen what pain taught you, what waiting strengthened, and what disappointment revealed. You are not walking forward as the same person who entered the last season. Remember Ruth. Loss had changed the future she expected, and she stood before a decision. She could return to what was known, or she could walk toward a life she could not yet understand. She chose loyalty, faith, and the next honest step. My beloved child, that is what I am asking of you now. Not a perfect leap, not a fearless performance, just a willing heart. Do not reject the new because it feels unfamiliar. Do not call every discomfort a warning. Sometimes the uneasiness you feel is the stretching of a life that can no longer remain where it was. At the same time, do not rush into every open door. Walk closely with me. What comes from me will not require you to betray truth, abandon wisdom, or become someone false. My direction may challenge you, but it will also draw you into greater honesty, peace, and maturity. Pressure says you must act immediately or lose everything. My invitation gives you enough peace to listen. Pressure attacks your worth. My voice reminds you that you are loved while calling you forward. Pressure creates confusion. My guidance may be incomplete, but it will not ask you to live in constant panic. Bring me the options. Bring me the fear. Bring me the part of you that wants to move and the part that wants to hide. You do not have to silence either part before speaking with me. Let honesty become the beginning of discernment. My beloved child, you may still grieve what is closing. A new road does not erase the meaning of the old one. You can thank me for what a season gave you and still accept that it is complete. You can love people and recognize that your paths are changing. You can honor the past without living inside it. There are places that taught you but cannot carry you farther. There are habits that once helped you survive but now keep you small. There are expectations built from fear that must be laid down before you can receive what comes next. I am not emptying them to leave you with nothing. I am making space for wisdom, healthier relationships, renewed purpose, and a deeper walk with me. The new road may not give you everything you once imagined, but it can lead you toward what your soul truly needs. My beloved child, tonight, you do not need to solve the whole journey. You only need to stop calling uncertainty abandonment. I am here where the old road ends and the new one begins. I am here in the questions, the pauses, the quiet changes, and the first step. I will not shame you for moving slowly. I will not leave you because your confidence trembles. Let the next step be enough for today. Let my presence be enough when the map is incomplete. Let hope rise without demanding that every answer arrive at once. A new road is opening before you. Do not be afraid of its unfamiliar shape. I will teach you how to recognize my voice along the way, even in the most ordinary moments. My beloved child, as you begin to recognize that a new road is opening, I want you to release one fear before you take another step. You were not chosen because you are perfect. You are not called because you never hesitate, never fail, or never feel afraid. I called you because your heart still turns toward me, even after disappointment. You look at the places where your confidence is thin, where your past still hurts, and where your discipline has not yet become steady. But my beloved child, appearance is not the same as readiness. I see the courage it takes for you to rise after a difficult night. I see the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. I see the part of you that still wants truth, even when truth asks you to change. Think of David when Samuel came to anoint a king. David was not standing in the room with his older brothers. He was outside caring for sheep. Others looked stronger, older, and more obvious for the role, but I was not measuring height, appearance, or public confidence. I was looking at the heart. My beloved child, people often choose according to what can be seen quickly. They notice charisma, experience, titles, beauty, and strength. I look deeper. I see whether a heart can remain tender. I see whether a person can learn, repent, listen, and stay faithful when applause disappears. You may feel overlooked because you do not match what others expect. Do not let their limited vision become your identity. His calling did not mean he would live without failure. It meant I would continue shaping him as he walked with me. My beloved child, being chosen does not mean being finished. This is where you have misunderstood grace. You think I call people after they have repaired every broken place, but I call them while they are still learning. I meet them in weakness and teach them how to depend on strength greater than their own. If you had to become complete before coming to me, no one could begin. Remember Jeremiah. When I called him, he looked at his youth and believed it disqualified him. He said he did not know how to speak. His attention went immediately to what he lacked. But I did not ask Jeremiah to create his own authority. I promised to be with him and give him the words he needed. My beloved child, I am not asking you to carry a calling with resources you do not have. What I ask from you, I will also teach you how to do. Do not reject the beginning because it does not yet look like mastery. A musician does not throw away the instrument because the first notes are uncertain. A builder does not abandon the foundation because it does not yet resemble the finished home. Growth has stages. You are allowed to be in process. My beloved child, perfectionism has often sounded like responsibility in your mind. It tells you to wait until you can guarantee success. It tells you that one mistake will expose you. It tells you that unless you can do everything well, you should do nothing. But perfectionism is often fear trying to protect itself from embarrassment. Faith does not demand a guarantee before obedience. Faith says, I may still have much to learn, but I will take the next honest step with God. Mistakes made with humility can become teachers. Refusing to begin teaches only avoidance. My beloved child, let yourself be teachable. Receive correction without turning it into shame. Practice what feels unfamiliar. Let wise people help you. You do not lose dignity when you admit you are learning. Pride pretends to know. Humility creates room to grow. There are also wounds that make you feel unworthy of good things. Even after asking for forgiveness, part of you keeps standing outside the door, believing that grace may be available for others, but not fully for you. My beloved child, do not build a prison from what I am trying to redeem. Your past can inform your wisdom without becoming your name. You can remember the lesson without continuing the punishment. If I am leading you forward, do not keep calling yourself back. Truth at a place where Peter denied knowing me when fear became stronger than courage. He wept over what he had done. Yet after the resurrection, I did not reduce his future to that failure. I restored him through an honest conversation and called him to care for others. My beloved child, I knew Peter's weakness before I called him. His failure did not surprise me. It became part of the place where pride was broken and compassion could grow. I know your weakness too. This does not mean your choices do not matter. Grace is not an excuse to remain careless, but grace means failure does not have to become final when your heart is willing to return, learn, and change. You do not need to impress me with strength. Bring me willingness. Bring me the part of you that says, I am afraid, but I am listening. Bring me the part that says, I do not know how, but I am willing to learn. My beloved child, that small willingness is fertile ground. I can strengthen what is weak. I can teach what is inexperienced. I can heal what has been wounded. I can bring clarity where shame once created confusion, but I will not force open a heart determined to remain hidden. Open to me honestly. Stop performing the version of yourself you think I would prefer. I already know the real you, and I am not turning away. You may still feel small when you look at the road ahead. That is all right. A lamp does not need to become the sun to be useful. It only needs to carry enough light for the place where it has been set. My beloved child, you do not have to become everyone. You only need to become faithful with what I placed in you. Your gentleness may reach someone's strength could not reach. Your story may give language to a person who feels alone. Your patience may create safety in a room filled with pressure. The very places where you once felt weak may become places of compassion and service. Do not call useless what I am still transforming. I do not ask you to hide the cracks. Bring them into my presence. A vessel can carry treasure while bearing marks from the hands that formed it. Scars do not cancel your purpose. When surrendered to me, they can become evidence that mercy continues working through an unfinished life. As you continue on this new road, remember that I chose you with full knowledge of your process. I am not waiting for a flawless person to appear. I am walking with you as you grow, and because you do not need to perform for me, you can become quiet enough to listen. In the next part, I will teach you how to recognize my voice in ordinary moments. My beloved child, because you no longer need to perform for me, you can begin to listen without fear. You do not have to force a spiritual moment. My voice often comes so gently that a hurried heart can miss it. You have looked for me in dramatic signs, sudden answers, and unmistakable events. But my beloved child, many of my most important invitations arrive quietly. A thought that leads you toward honesty, a peace that remains after the noise settles, a gentle conviction that asks you to stop, apologize, rest, or begin again. Do not dismiss these ordinary movements. Think of Samuel when he was still young and serving in the temple. Night had fallen. The lamps were burning low. Nothing about the moment seemed extraordinary. Then he heard his name. At first, Samuel did not understand who was calling. He ran to Eli because he assumed the voice came from someone familiar. Only after repeated moments did he learn to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." My beloved child Samuel had to learn my voice. Do not condemn yourself because you are still learning too. Discernment grows through relationship. A child recognizes a parent's voice through ordinary days. In the same way, you become familiar with me through quiet prayer, scripture, honest reflection, and obedience. You will not always feel something intense. Sometimes one sentence from scripture will remain in your heart all day. Sometimes a conversation will confirm what I have been teaching you. Sometimes a delay will make space for wisdom you would have missed. My beloved child, listen without demanding spectacle. I can speak while you wash dishes, walk to work, sit beside a window, or drive along a familiar road. I can meet you in the quiet morning and before sleep. The ordinary is not empty when I am present. You often divide your life into sacred moments and normal moments. You imagine I am near during prayer but distant during work and waiting. Yet I am not limited to a room, a service, or a certain feeling. I walk with you through the whole day. My beloved child, begin by slowing down enough to notice. You do not need hours of silence to start. Give me a few honest minutes. Put down the noise, breathe. Let your thoughts settle. Ask one simple question. What are you showing me today? Then listen with patience. You may not receive a complete answer. You may only become aware of one next step. Perhaps you need to stop speaking harshly to yourself. Perhaps you need to call someone you have avoided. Perhaps you need to wait before deciding. My beloved child, one clear instruction is enough for one day. Remember Elijah when he stood on the mountain. There was a powerful wind, then an earthquake, then fire. Yet my presence was recognized in a quiet voice that followed. It means you must not assume that volume proves truth. Fear can be loud. Pressure can be loud. Other people's expectations can be loud. My guidance often carries a steadiness that does not need to shout. Learn the difference. Fear says, decide now or everything will be lost. Wisdom says, be still long enough to see clearly. Fear says, prove yourself before they change their minds. My voice says, you do not need to earn what grace is teaching you to receive. Fear says, if you cannot see the whole road, do not move. My voice says, take the faithful step that is clear today. My beloved child, my voice will never lead you to betray truth. It will not call you to harm someone, manipulate another person, or abandon wisdom. I may challenge your comfort, but I will not ask you to become dishonest in order to obey. What comes from me will reflect my character. It may call you to courage. It may call you to patience. It may call you to confess, forgive, set a boundary, seek help, or remain faithful when no one applauds. But it will not feed pride while pretending to be purpose. My beloved child, test what you hear. Bring it to Scripture. Ask whether it produces honesty, humility, love, and peace. Seek wise counsel from people whose lives show maturity, not merely confidence. Give important decisions enough time for emotion to settle. Samuel needed Eli's guidance before he understood what was happening. Be teachable. At the same time, do not ask for endless confirmation when the next right step is already clear. Sometimes you say you are waiting for another sign because obedience feels uncomfortable. My beloved child, delay can disguise itself as discernment. If you know you need to apologize, another dramatic sign is not necessary. If you know a habit is damaging your peace, you do not need a louder warning. If truth is clear, courage must answer. Listening is incomplete without response. Samuel did not only hear his name, he answered, my beloved child, your answer may be simple. I am listening. I am willing. Show me the next step. Give me courage to obey what you reveal. You may worry that you will misunderstand me. I am not looking for a reason to punish every imperfect attempt. I am a father who teaches. When a child learning to walk turns in the wrong direction, a loving parent guides the child back. My beloved child, I can redirect you. Stay humble, stay close, stay willing to change course. You also need quiet from the voices that compete for your attention. If every hour is filled with opinions, messages, and comparison, your heart may become too crowded to recognize peace. Create small spaces where nothing demands a response. Let the morning begin without immediately entering the noise of the world. Let an evening walk become a place for reflection. Let one meal be eaten without distraction. These habits create room for awareness. My beloved child, I am often nearer than your rushing mind allows you to notice. You may discover that I have been speaking through patterns. The same truth returns through Scripture, a conversation, and a quiet conviction. The same warning continues gently. The same invitation keeps drawing you toward courage. Pay attention to what remains after emotion passes. Excitement can disappear quickly. Fear can change overnight. But truth often stays calm and steady, asking for the same faithful response. My beloved child, do not confuse urgency with importance. Some of the most important work in your life will grow slowly. Learning patience, rebuilding trust, healing your thoughts, becoming consistent. None of these may feel dramatic, yet they can transform your future. I speak through these slow lessons too. My beloved child, faithful listening is not built in one perfect moment. It grows whenever you return, become still, and choose truth again today. As you learn to hear me in ordinary moments, you will stop demanding that every answer arrive at once. You will begin to trust that guidance can unfold gradually, and that trust will prepare you for the next lesson. I will not show you every mile before you begin. I will teach you how to walk with me one step at a time. My beloved child, now that you are learning to recognize my voice, you must also learn not to demand the journey at once. I will show you one step at a time. Not because I want to keep you confused, but because I want you to walk closely with me. You often believe peace will come when every answer is visible. You want to know where the road leads, how long the season will last, who will remain beside you, and whether the next decision will succeed. But my beloved child, complete knowledge is not the same as trust. If I place the entire road before you today, your heart might become overwhelmed by distances you were never meant to carry. You would begin worrying about tomorrow before receiving strength for today. You would try to solve problems that have not arrived and prepare for battles I may never ask you to fight, so I give you enough light for the step beneath your feet. Think of the people of Israel when they traveled through the wilderness. I did not hand them supplies for the journey. I gave manna for each day. They gathered what was needed, and they learned that my provision would meet them when morning came. My beloved child, daily bread teaches daily dependence. You want a storehouse of certainty, because uncertainty makes you feel exposed. Yet I am teaching you that safety does not come from knowing everything. Safety comes from knowing the one who leads you. The road may bend beyond what you see. That does not mean it ends. A traveler walking at night does not need the sun to rise. A small lamp can reveal the next stone, the edge of the path, and the place where the foot should land. That light is enough to keep moving. My beloved child, do not call a small instruction insufficient. Perhaps the next step is to rest before making a decision. Perhaps it is to stop contacting someone who disturbs your peace. Perhaps it is to complete the work in front of you instead of chasing another opportunity. The next step may feel ordinary. Call the person, finish the application, tell the truth, ask for help, close the door gently, begin the habit again. You sometimes overlook simple obedience because you are waiting for something that feels more spiritual. But the path of faith is often built through choices made with a steady heart. Remember Philip when an angel directed him toward a desert road. He was not told the reason. He was simply told where to go. On that road, he met a man reading from the prophet Isaiah, and one act of obedience became part of another person's awakening. My beloved child, Philip understood the purpose after he started moving. You may receive direction that seems incomplete. You wonder why this conversation matters, why this delay continues, or why you feel drawn toward a task that appears small. Do not dismiss the step because its meaning is hidden. Some doors become visible only after you enter the hallway. I know you are afraid of making the wrong choice. You remember decisions bringing disappointment, and now you hesitate because you do not want to repeat the pain. My beloved child, caution can be wise, but fear can keep you frozen while pretending to protect you. Bring your choices to me. Examine them. Seek counsel. Pay attention to character consequences and peace. Then make the clearest, faithful decision you can with what you know today. You are not required to predict everything perfectly. I am able to redirect a humble heart. A ship can adjust its course while moving, but it cannot be guided while tied to the harbor. Sometimes you keep asking for direction while refusing to release the rope. My beloved child, movement does not have to be reckless. It only has to be willing. Consider Abram when I told him to leave his country and go to a place I would show him. I did not provide every detail before his departure. The promise unfolded while he walked. His obedience was not based on full information. It was based on the character of the one who called him. This is what I am forming in you. Not blind impulsiveness, not careless risk. Trust saying, I do not see the whole way, but I know I am not walking alone. My beloved child, there will be moments when you take a step and nothing appears to change. Do not assume the step was meaningless. Roots grow before branches are visible. Foundations are laid before walls rise. You may pray, obey, and still see silence. Keep your heart steady. The result of one faithful step is not always immediate relief. Sometimes the result is that your character becomes stronger. Sometimes you learn patience. Sometimes you discover that you can remain peaceful without controlling the outcome. These inner changes are not small. I am preparing you not only to reach a destination, but to become someone who can remain faithful when you arrive. My beloved child, do not rush ahead of the grace assigned to today. When you live too far in the future, you borrow fear without receiving future strength. Grace meets you in the present. Wisdom for tomorrow will come when tomorrow becomes today. For now, return to what is in front of you. What responsibility have you neglected because you are distracted by a larger dream? What conversation have you delayed because you are waiting to feel brave? What instruction have you already heard, but continue asking me to repeat? My beloved child, sometimes the next step is not hidden. It is merely uncomfortable. Obedience may ask you to apologize without knowing how the other person will respond. It may ask you to wait without knowing how long. It may ask you to leave something familiar without knowing what will replace it. This is where trust becomes real. You do not need to feel fearless before acting faithfully. Let your hand tremble while you choose what is true. I will meet you in the movement. My beloved child, I am not only ahead of you, I am beside you in each uncertain step. I am behind you, redeeming what you cannot change. I am within you, giving peace that does not depend on an explanation. You may pause. You may ask questions. You may need time to breathe. None of this means you have failed. But do not build a permanent home in hesitation. There is a time to listen, and there is a time to move. When the next faithful step becomes clear, take it gently. Do not demand it reveal the future. Let obedience open understanding in its time. My beloved child, one step with me is safer than a plan without me. As you learn to walk this way, you will also begin to recognize something. Some roads behind you are familiar, but they no longer belong to your future. In the next part, I will show you why fear must not send you back to the place I have already called you to leave. My beloved child, now that I am teaching you to walk one step at a time, you must also understand why fear keeps asking you to turn around. The road ahead feels unfamiliar, while the place behind you carries memories and habits you know well. Familiarity can feel like safety, even when it once kept your soul small. Do not return where I called you out. My beloved child, not every old door is evil, but some doors have finished their purpose. Some seasons taught you, and some places sheltered you for a time. Yet what once protected you can later become a prison if you refuse to move when the season changes. You often look backward when progress becomes uncomfortable. You remember what was predictable and the version of yourself that survived there. You may even begin to soften the truth about what that place cost you. Pain has a strange way of making the past look gentler after time passes. Think of the people of Israel after they left Egypt. They had cried for freedom and seen my hand open the sea. Yet when the wilderness became difficult, they began to remember Egypt as though bondage had been security. They remembered food but forgot the chains. My beloved child, fear can do the same. It can make an unhealthy relationship look comforting because loneliness feels heavy. It can make an old habit look harmless because change requires effort. It can make a familiar disappointment feel safer than an unknown possibility. Do not confuse what is known with what is good. There are places you learn to live by shrinking yourself. You stayed quiet to avoid conflict. You accepted less to avoid being left. You carried responsibilities that belonged to others because being needed made you feel secure. My beloved child, I did not bring you out so you could spend the rest of your life longing for the cage. Freedom can feel strange when fear has been familiar for years. Open space may feel less safe than walls. You may miss the rules of a place that limited you because at least you knew what to expect. But I am teaching you how to live without being controlled by the patterns that once defined you. This does not happen at once. You may leave physically before your heart fully leaves. You may stop the habit while still craving its comfort. You may set a boundary and then feel guilty for protecting your peace. My beloved child, do not mistake withdrawal from the old life for proof that you made the wrong choice. Healing often includes longing for what hurt you because it was familiar. Remember Lot's wife. She was leaving a place marked by destruction, yet her heart remained attached to what was behind. Looking back was not only about turning her head, it revealed where part of her desire still lived. My beloved child, your body can move forward while your heart continues bargaining with the past. Ask yourself honestly what you still romanticize. Do you miss the person, or do you miss not being alone? Do you miss the old job, or do you miss the identity it gave you? Do you miss the former habit, or do you miss the numbness it provided? Truth will help you separate the need from the place where you once tried to meet it. You may need companionship, but that does not mean you must return to someone who repeatedly dishonored you. You may need rest, but that does not mean you must escape through what damages you. My beloved child, I can meet the real need without returning you to the old bondage. Bring me the loneliness beneath the temptation. Bring me the fear beneath the nostalgia. Bring me the uncertainty that makes you want to reopen doors I helped you close. I will not shame you for missing what was familiar, but I will remind you why you left. Remember the nights you asked for strength. Remember the confusion, the exhaustion, and the way your spirit kept becoming smaller. Remember the peace that began to return after you stepped away. My beloved child, memory must serve truth. There will be voices telling you that you have changed too much. Some people benefited from your lack of boundaries. Your growth may feel like rejection to those who were comfortable with your silence. Do not shrink to make your transformation easier for them. You can remain kind without returning to old patterns. You can forgive without giving immediate access. You can honor the good without denying what became unhealthy. My beloved child, moving forward does not require hatred. You do not need anger to keep a door closed. Wisdom can close it quietly. You may feel tempted to prove that you have changed by returning and showing that the old place no longer controls you. Be careful. Strength does not always need to revisit the fire. Sometimes maturity means recognizing that you do not need another test. A healed wound does not need to be reopened to prove that it once existed. My beloved child, guard the peace you fought to rebuild. This new road may feel empty at first because the old noise is gone. Silence can make you question yourself. Yet silence also creates room for new desires, healthier relationships, and a clearer sense of who you are becoming. Do not fill the space too quickly. Let me teach you how to live there. The wilderness was not Egypt, but it was not yet the promised land either. It was a place of transition, dependence, and training. The people had left slavery, but slavery still had to leave their thinking. My beloved child, you may also be between worlds. The old life no longer fits, but the new life is still forming. This in-between place can feel lonely, yet it is not meaningless. I am teaching you how to make choices from freedom instead of fear. You are learning that peace can feel unfamiliar and still be healthy. You are learning that a boundary can feel uncomfortable and still be right. You are learning that not every longing deserves obedience. My beloved child, when the urge to return becomes strong, pause before acting. Name what you are feeling. Ask what you truly need. Speak with someone wise. Read what you wrote during the painful season. Give the emotion time to pass before making a permanent decision. Do not let one lonely evening undo months of healing. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to stop using it as your destination. Take the lesson, keep the wisdom, release the chain. My beloved child, there is more ahead than what you left behind, but you will not discover it while standing with one foot in yesterday and one foot on the new road. Turn your whole heart forward. The next step may frighten you. Your confidence may feel unsteady. That does not mean you are unprepared to move. In the next part, I will show you that even a trembling step is still faith when it is taken with me. My beloved child, now that you have turned your heart away from the place I called you to leave, you may notice something honest. The next step still frightens you. Your body may move forward while your thoughts keep asking whether you are strong enough, ready enough, or certain enough to continue. Do not be ashamed of the trembling. A trembling step is still faith when it is taken toward truth. My beloved child, you have often imagined courage as a feeling that arrives before obedience. You think brave people move without doubt, speak without hesitation, and never feel the weight of what they are facing. But courage is rarely that simple. Many faithful steps begin with a racing heart. You may still be afraid when you make the call. You may still feel uncertain when you set the boundary. You may still have questions when you accept the opportunity, begin the healing process, or tell the truth. Fear does not cancel obedience. Think of Gideon. When I called him, he was not standing boldly before an army. He was hiding, trying to protect what little remained. He saw himself as weak, insignificant, and unprepared. Yet I called him a mighty warrior. My beloved child, I did not call Gideon according to the fear he felt in that moment. I called him according to what my presence would form within him. He asked questions. He needed reassurance. He did not become fearless overnight. But step by step, he learned that courage was not something he had to manufacture alone. I was with him. You may look at yourself and see hesitation. I see someone learning to trust. You see a shaking voice. I see truth finally being spoken. You see a small step. I see the beginning of a new direction. My beloved child, do not measure faith only by how strong you feel. Faith is often revealed by what you choose while feelings remain unsettled. You choose not to return to the person who kept wounding you. You choose to attend the appointment you kept delaying. You choose to begin again after embarrassment. You choose to remain honest when hiding would feel easier. A bridge is crossed one step at a time. The traveler may still hear the wind and feel the height, yet each step places more distance between fear and the old shore. My beloved child, you do not need to cross everything today. Take the step that belongs to this moment. Sometimes fear becomes stronger because you are trying to carry the entire future in one thought. You imagine every possible failure, every difficult conversation, and every disappointment that might come. Then you become exhausted before you have even begun. What is the next faithful thing? Not the entire plan, not the final result, only the next faithful thing. My beloved child, perhaps you need to send one message, write one page, make one appointment, remove one temptation, or tell one trusted person what you are facing. Do not wait for perfect confidence. Confidence often grows after action, not before it. A child learns balance by standing, falling, and standing again. Strength develops through use. You have been asking me to remove every trace of fear before you move, but sometimes I answer by strengthening you as you move. My beloved child, my presence does not always erase the trembling immediately. Sometimes it teaches you that trembling cannot control you. Remember Esther before she entered the king's presence. She knew the risk. She did not walk forward because the danger was imaginary. She prepared, fasted, and made a decision. Her courage was not carelessness, it was surrender. My beloved child, surrendered courage says, I cannot control every outcome, but I can choose what is right. This is where faith becomes deeper than optimism. Optimism hopes everything will be easy. Faith trusts me even when the outcome remains uncertain. You may take the right step and still face difficulty. Obedience does not guarantee immediate comfort, but it keeps your soul aligned with truth. My beloved child, do not interpret difficulty as proof that you heard incorrectly. Some right decisions feel painful because they require you to release what was familiar. Some boundaries bring loneliness before they bring peace. Some beginnings feel awkward before they become steady. Growth often feels unstable at first. When a young bird leaves the nest, the first movement is not graceful. Wings strengthen through use. The air that feels frightening also becomes the place where flight is learned. My beloved child, the unfamiliar does not always mean unsafe. You must still use wisdom. Do not rush into danger and call it faith. Seek counsel, examine the consequences, make room for prayer and honest reflection. Faith is not recklessness, but once the direction is clear, do not let endless fear become your master. There comes a moment when another question will not bring more clarity. Another delay will not make obedience easier. Another sign will not remove the need to choose. My beloved child, that is when you step. You may cry while stepping. You may need support while stepping. You may pause to breathe while stepping, but keep moving. I am not disappointed by your need for reassurance. I know how fear has shaped your reactions. I know the disappointments that made you cautious. I know why your heart learned to protect itself. My beloved child, I will not shame the part of you that is learning safety again, but I will gently challenge the part that uses caution to avoid growth forever. You are not called to remain frozen simply because you once made a mistake. A past failure can teach wisdom without becoming a prophecy. You can learn what happened, make different choices, and walk forward with greater awareness. You do not have to keep paying for the same lesson by refusing every new opportunity. My beloved child, mercy gives you permission to begin again. If you stumble, return. If you become afraid, breathe. If you need guidance, ask. If you move too quickly, slow down. Faith is not a flawless performance. It is a continuing relationship. You are learning to turn toward me again and again. My beloved child, let this truth settle within you. Your trembling does not offend me. Your questions do not frighten me. Your slow progress does not make me withdraw. I am near in every honest step. The courage you need may not arrive as a powerful emotion. It may come as a quiet sentence within your heart. I will do the next right thing. That sentence is enough for today. My beloved child, take the step with humility. Take it without trying to impress anyone. Take it because remaining where you are would require you to betray what you now know. You need alignment. And when you look back, you may discover that the moment you felt weakest was the moment your life began to change. A trembling step is still faith. And in the next part, I will remind you of something your fear keeps forgetting. What I have prepared for you will not disappear simply because your heart trembles for a while. My beloved child, you have taken a trembling step, and now fear is whispering that you may have waited too long. It tells you that hesitation has ruined everything, that the opportunity has passed, and that what I prepared has already moved beyond your reach. Do not believe that lie. What I prepared will not disappear simply because your heart became afraid. My beloved child, I know how quickly you imagine loss. One delay feels like a closed door. One uncertain day feels like proof that you failed. One moment of weakness makes you think I have changed my mind about you. But my love is not that fragile. I am not like people who grow impatient when you need time. I do not stand beside the road counting every pause with disappointment. I know what made you cautious. I know the wounds that taught you to expect good things to vanish. Think of Thomas after the resurrection. The others told him that they had seen me, but he could not receive their words immediately. His heart needed more than a report. He needed an encounter. When I came again, I did not reject Thomas for his questions. I met him in the place of doubt and invited him closer. My beloved child, I did not disappear because Thomas struggled to believe. I gave him room to move from fear into trust. You may also need time to recognize what I am doing. You may need confirmation, counsel, healing, and prayer before you can step with greater confidence. That does not mean the door has vanished. It means your heart is still learning how to receive. My beloved child, there is a difference between careful discernment and endless avoidance. I will gently show you that difference. But do not let shame convince you that every pause has made you unworthy. What comes from me is not held together by your perfect emotional state. A frightened morning cannot cancel my faithfulness. A difficult week cannot erase purpose. A season of questions does not force me to abandon the work I began. You keep imagining that my plans depend on you, never trembling. They do not. My beloved child, I am able to remain steady while you are learning steadiness. Remember the father who brought his suffering son to me. He wanted to believe, yet he honestly admitted that part of him still struggled. He did not hide the conflict inside his heart. He asked for help with his unbelief. My beloved child, you do not need to pretend that faith is stronger than it feels. Bring me the mixed heart. Bring me the hope and the fear together. Bring me the part that wants to move and the part that still expects disappointment. Honesty does not push me away. It gives me room to meet you. My beloved child, the pause that taught you patience may become part of the preparation. What feels like lost time can deepen wisdom, clarify desire, and strengthen your next response. You may have learned that opportunities must be seized in panic or they will be lost. The world often speaks that way. It says, hurry, compete, prove yourself, and act before someone else takes your place. But my beloved child, what I lead you toward will not require you to abandon peace. Panic makes you grasp. Wisdom helps you respond. My guidance may stretch you, but it will not ask you to become frantic in order to earn what I am teaching you to receive. What is truly for you will not require you to betray your values, silence your discernment, or destroy your health just to keep it. My beloved child, I am not training you to chase blessings. I am training you to recognize what carries my character. There are moments when I ask you to move quickly. There are also moments when I protect you by slowing you down. The question is whether you are walking with me. You may look at another person and think they entered their season before you. You begin to worry that their progress has reduced what remains for you. My beloved child, another person's path cannot steal your purpose. I do not prepare identical journeys. Their open door does not mean yours is closed. Their timing does not define your timing. Their readiness does not expose your delay. Comparison turns another person's blessing into a threat. Let gratitude free you from that trap. You can celebrate what I am doing in someone else without believing that I have forgotten you. My beloved child, I know your name and your season. Think of Lazarus. His sisters sent word because they believed I should come quickly. When I arrived later, they thought the moment had been lost, but delay had not placed the situation beyond my reach. My beloved child, I am not saying every delay will end in the way you imagine. I am showing you that your timetable does not limit my power. What appears finished to you may still be held within a larger purpose you cannot yet see. Do not say it is over, when what you truly mean is I do not understand. Do not say I missed everything when you may simply be in preparation. Do not say God has rejected me when the season may be asking you to wait, heal, or grow. My beloved child, words shape the atmosphere within your mind. You can say I am uncertain and still remain open. You can say I am afraid and still stay near. You can say I need time without deciding that all hope is gone. My beloved child, my patience is not permission to remain passive forever. There will be a moment when I ask you to stop circling and respond. But when that moment comes, I will not shame you into movement. I will call you with clarity. I will strengthen your heart. I may use wise people, repeated truth, and a steady conviction to help you recognize the step, then you must choose. Do not use my patience as a hiding place from obedience, but do not mistake my patience for absence either. My beloved child, perhaps you are grieving an opportunity you truly did miss. Even then, your life is not over. I can teach you through regret without making regret your home. I can open a different road. I can restore wisdom, rebuild courage, and guide you toward something you would not have recognized before. My beloved child, redemption is larger than one lost moment. You are not powerful enough to destroy every good thing I can still form from a surrendered life. You are responsible for your response, but you are not the author of grace. So breathe. What I have prepared will not disappear merely because you needed time to heal, ask questions, or gather courage. Stay close enough to hear when the next step becomes clear. And remember this, you do not need to clean every room within your heart before my presence can enter. In the next part, I will show you how light begins its work before the room is perfect. My beloved child, you have just heard that. My patience does not disappear when your heart is afraid. Now I want you to understand something even deeper. You do not need to clean every room within you before I enter. Light enters before the room is perfect. You often imagine that you must become calmer, stronger, more disciplined, and more certain before you can come close to me. But my beloved child, that is not how healing begins. A dark room does not remove its own darkness before the lamp is brought in. The lamp enters, and then what was hidden can finally be seen clearly. I am not waiting outside with crossed arms. I am asking you to open the door. My beloved child, I already know what is inside. I know the memories you avoid, the habits you are ashamed of, the fears you have never spoken aloud, and the questions you think a faithful person should not have. Nothing in you surprises me. I am not afraid of the places within you that still need patient restoration. You hide because you are afraid that exposure will lead to rejection. So you learn to present the version of yourself that seems acceptable. But my beloved child, I cannot heal the version you pretend to be. I meet the person who is willing to tell the truth. Think of Zacchaeus. He had built a life that others criticized, and he carried a reputation he could not easily escape. When I passed through Jericho, he climbed a tree because he wanted to see me while remaining partly hidden. Yet I looked up and called him by name. My beloved child, I did not wait for Zacchaeus to repair his entire life before entering his home. My presence came first, then honesty, repentance, and change began to follow. Grace does not approve what is harmful. Grace creates a safe place where truth can finally be faced. You sometimes believe shame will motivate you to change. You speak harshly to yourself, replay old failures, and imagine that punishment will make you better. But shame often drives the wound deeper. My beloved child, conviction and condemnation are not the same. Condemnation says, you are the problem and there is no hope. Conviction says, this is hurting you and I am showing you another way. Condemnation pushes you into hiding. Conviction draws you into the light. My voice may correct you, but it will not strip you of dignity. I will show you what must change while reminding you that you are still loved. My beloved child, healing requires both truth and tenderness. If truth comes without tenderness, you may become crushed. If tenderness comes without truth, you may remain trapped. I bring both. Let me enter the room where you keep your regrets. Perhaps you are still carrying guilt over words you cannot take back, decisions that affected people you love, or years you feel were wasted. My beloved child, remorse can become a doorway to wisdom, but endless self-punishment cannot change the past. If an apology is needed, make it. If restitution is possible, pursue it. If a pattern must stop, take responsibility. Then allow mercy to teach you how to live differently. You do not honor the lesson by hating yourself forever. Remember the woman brought before me after being caught in sin. Others stood ready to reduce her entire identity to one moment. They saw a reason for public shame. I saw a person who needed both protection and a new direction. My beloved child, I did not tell her that nothing mattered. I removed condemnation and told her to leave the old path. This is how light works. It does not pretend the darkness is harmless. It reveals another way to live. You may also have rooms filled with grief rather than guilt, places where loss still sits quietly. You avoid them because you fear that if you begin crying, you may never stop. My beloved child, tears do not mean you are moving backward. Sometimes they are the way your heart releases what it could not carry any longer. Let me sit with you in that room. Grief needs presence before it needs meaning. My beloved child, I am not uncomfortable with your sorrow. I stayed near Mary when she wept over Lazarus. I did not rebuke her for grieving even though I knew the story was not finished. I wept with those who wept. Your tears are not evidence of weak faith. They are evidence that something mattered. There are also rooms where fear has arranged the furniture. Every decision is placed around avoiding rejection, failure, conflict, or loss. My beloved child, when light enters you, begin to notice how much of your life has been organized around fear. You say yes when you mean no. You remain silent when truth is needed. You delay because you want certainty no human being can possess. Do not panic when you see these patterns. Awareness is not defeat. It is the beginning of freedom. Light reveals so healing can become specific. Instead of saying, I am simply broken, you can say, I fear abandonment. Instead of saying, I always fail, you can say, I need discipline and support in this area. Instead of saying, nothing will change, you can choose one honest step. My beloved child, vague shame keeps you powerless. Clear truth gives you somewhere to begin. Open one room at a time. You do not have to uncover every memory in one night. You do not have to solve every pattern in 1 week. Let healing move at a wise pace. I may use prayer, scripture, counseling, friendship, rest, and difficult conversations. Do not reject help because it arrives through ordinary people and practical steps. My beloved child, I often bring light through community. A trusted person may help you name what you could not see alone. A counselor may give language to pain you have carried for years. A friend may remind you of truth when your thoughts become dark. Receiving help is not a failure of faith. It can be an act of faith. My beloved child, stop waiting to become perfect before you let yourself be loved. Perfection is not the doorway. Honesty is. Come tired, come uncertain, come ashamed, come hopeful. Come exactly as you are, but do not assume I intend to leave you exactly as you are. My presence comforts and it transforms. The light may reveal dust. Do not be embarrassed. Dust only becomes visible because the room is becoming brighter. My beloved child, celebrate what the light is showing you. Not because every discovery feels pleasant, but because hidden things no longer need to control you. You are not being exposed for humiliation. You are being invited into freedom, and as the room becomes brighter, you will begin to see the road ahead with greater clarity. Yet storms may still rise outside, and fear may try to pull your attention away again. In the next part, I will teach you how to keep your eyes on me when the wind becomes loud and the waves begin to move. My beloved child, now that more light is entering the hidden rooms of your heart, you must learn what to do when the world outside becomes loud again. Healing does not mean storms will never rise. It means you are learning where to look when they do. Keep your eyes on me in the storm. My beloved child, fear always tries to become the center of your attention. It points to the wind, the delay, the diagnosis, the conflict, the silence, and the unanswered question. Then it asks you to build your whole conclusion from what is moving around you. But what is moving is not always what is ruling. The storm may be loud, but it is not greater than my presence. Think of the disciples crossing the sea at night. The wind rose, the waves struck the boat, and experienced fishermen became afraid. They understood water, yet the storm exceeded what their skill could manage. My beloved child, even people with experience can become afraid when life moves beyond what they know. The disciples looked at the waves and believed the boat was about to be lost, but I was still with them. My presence had not left because the weather changed. You often assume that difficulty means you missed my direction. You think that if I truly led you, the road would remain calm. But obedience does not always remove resistance. Sometimes the storm appears while you are exactly where I asked you to be. My beloved child, do not judge my guidance only by the ease of the journey. My beloved child, when the storm rises, begin by naming what is true. The situation is difficult. Your emotions are real. You do not know every outcome, and I am still with you. Do not deny the wind, but do not let the wind become your God. Fear narrows your vision until all you can see is the threat. It makes one problem look like the whole future. It tells you that because today is uncertain, tomorrow is already ruined. My beloved child, breathe before you believe the worst. Slow your body. Place your feet on the floor. Take one honest breath. Pray one clear sentence. You do not need a long speech when fear is loud. Say, Father, help me see what is true. Say, Father, keep my mind from running ahead. Say, Father, show me the next faithful step. My beloved child, peace often begins with returning to the present. You cannot carry tomorrow while standing in today. You cannot solve every possible ending. You can only respond to what is actually in front of you. Remember Peter when he stepped out of the boat. He did not walk because the sea had become calm. He walked while the wind was still moving because his attention was fixed on me. He saw the waves and began to sink. My beloved child, Peter's problem was not that the storm suddenly became real. The storm had been real from the beginning. What changed was where he placed his focus. This does not mean you must ignore danger or refuse wisdom. It means you must not give fear the final word. My beloved child, faith is not pretending that everything is fine. Faith is refusing to declare that everything is lost while I am still present. Trust says, I do not understand this season, but I will not face it as though I am alone. My beloved child, storms reveal what you have been leaning on. When life is calm, you may believe your confidence comes from your plans, savings, health, relationships, or ability to predict what comes next. Then pressure arrives, and the limits of those things become visible. Think of the house built on rock. Rain fell on both houses. Wind struck both houses. The difference was not that one home avoided the storm. The difference was the foundation. My beloved child, I am not teaching you how to create a life that never faces pressure. I am teaching you how to build a heart that does not collapse every time pressure comes. That foundation is formed through daily choices. You return to truth when your thoughts become dark. You ask for help before isolation deepens. You rest before exhaustion distorts your judgment. You obey what is clear instead of feeding every fearful possibility. My beloved child, small practices become strength before you realize it. There may be days when you feel calm and then one message, one memory, or one unexpected change brings the fear back. Do not call yourself a failure. Healing is not proven by never being triggered. Healing is revealed by how you return. My beloved child, returning is part of growth. When Peter began to sink, he cried out. I reached for him. I did not stand at a distance and tell him to save himself. My beloved child, ask for my help before you feel completely overwhelmed. You do not have to wait until your strength is gone. Reach for me in the first wave. Reach for me when the thoughts begin racing. Reach for me when your heart starts building a future from fear. I am near. You may be facing a storm no one else can see. Outwardly, life may look normal, but inside you are fighting exhaustion, uncertainty, grief, or loneliness. My beloved child, invisible storms are still real. Do not minimize your pain because someone else has a different struggle. Bring me what is heavy for you. At the same time, do not let pain isolate you from every safe person. I may use a friend, counselor, pastor, doctor, or family member to help steady the boat. My beloved child, accepting support is not a lack of faith. Sometimes it is the way faith reaches for the help I have already provided. You are learning that storms do not have to control your identity. You are not only the person facing loss, you are not only the person waiting for an answer. You are not only the person who feels afraid, you are my beloved child, and my presence remains deeper than the waves. My beloved child, there will be moments when I calm the storm around you. There will also be moments when I calm something within you while the storm continues. Both are forms of grace. Sometimes the circumstances change quickly. Sometimes your heart becomes steady enough to walk through what has not changed yet. Do not overlook the second miracle. A peaceful heart in an unfinished season is not a small gift. My beloved child, keep your eyes on me, not with forced intensity, but with steady return. When fear pulls your attention away, return. When uncertainty grows, return. When you do not know what to pray, return with silence. I am not asking for perfect focus. I am asking you not to surrender your attention permanently to the storm. And as you learn to remain with me while the waves move, you will begin to understand why some seasons do not change immediately. In the next part, I will show you how waiting itself can prepare your soul for what comes next. My beloved child, as you learn to keep your eyes on me while the storm continues, you will also begin to understand why some seasons do not change quickly. Waiting is not always an empty space between prayer and answer. Sometimes waiting is the place where I prepare your soul. My beloved child, delay does not automatically mean denial. A field can look silent while roots are spreading beneath the soil. Much of my deepest work begins where your eyes cannot measure progress. You want visible movement because visible movement reassures you. You want the answer to arrive so you can finally breathe. But my beloved child, if your peace depends only on receiving the outcome, then the outcome will become heavier than it was meant to be. I am teaching you to breathe before the answer comes. I am teaching you to rest while the door remains closed. I am teaching you to trust my character when the timeline is unclear. Think of Noah. Long before rain appeared, he built according to the instruction he had received. Day after day he worked while the sky looked ordinary. My beloved child, preparation often looks unnecessary before the season changes. Noah did not wait for the first drop of rain before beginning. He allowed the waiting years to become years of faithful construction. What are you building while you wait? Are you building patience or only frustration? Are you building discipline or only imagining what you will do someday? Are you building a deeper prayer life, healthier habits, honest relationships, and stronger boundaries? My beloved child, the waiting room can become a training room. My beloved child, patience is not passive. It is active trust. It keeps your heart open without forcing what is not ready. It continues watering the ground even when no green shoot has appeared. It chooses obedience over resentment and gratitude over constant complaint. This kind of patience is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the quiet confidence that my hands are still working even when your eyes cannot yet see what they are preparing. You may not control when the next door opens, but you can choose how you live while standing before it. Do not put your whole life on hold. Care for your body. Complete the work in front of you. Learn what this season is teaching. Do not wait for a dramatic future before becoming faithful today. My beloved child, some of the strength you will need later is being formed through ordinary repetition now. A person who receives responsibility before developing character may be crushed by the very thing they once called a blessing. A relationship entered before healing may repeat the same wounds with a different face. This is why I prepare both the gift and the person who will carry it. My beloved child, you often focus on whether the promise is ready. I am also asking whether your heart is becoming ready. Can you receive without becoming proud? Can you wait without becoming bitter? Can you hold responsibility without losing peace? Can you carry more without allowing it to define your worth? These questions are not punishment. They are preparation. Remember David after he was anointed. The oil touched his head before the throne became his reality. Between the promise and the position there were fields, battles, service rejection, and caves. My beloved child David was chosen before he was established. The hidden years taught him to endure and depend on me. The throne did not create his character. It revealed what the waiting years had formed. You may also be carrying a promise that has not yet become visible. Do not despise the hidden season. What feels like being overlooked may be protecting you. What feels like slowness may be giving you time to learn what success would not teach gently. My beloved child, waiting reveals what is controlling your heart. When an answer is delayed, impatience speaks, comparison speaks, fear speaks, entitlement may speak. Listen carefully so you can know what needs healing. If uncertainty causes you to grasp at harmful substitutes, then trust must become stronger than urgency. My beloved child, a delayed desire often exposes the places where desire has become a master. I am not asking you to stop wanting good things. I am teaching you to want them without allowing them to own your peace. You can pray with hope and still surrender the timing. You can feel disappointed and still remain faithful. My beloved child, honest disappointment does not offend me. Tell me that you are tired of waiting. Tell me that the silence hurts. Tell me that you expected life to look different by now. Think of Hannah. She carried a longing that had become deeply painful. She poured out her heart before me. My beloved child, I did not reject Hannah's tears. Her honesty became part of surrender. She left the place of prayer before the answer appeared, yet something within her had changed. She had placed the weight of her longing into my hands. You learn how to release an outcome without abandoning hope. You learn that surrender is not the same as giving up. Giving up says nothing good can happen. Surrender says, I still hope, but I will not destroy myself trying to control how and when. My beloved child, waiting also teaches you how to recognize substitutes. When the true answer seems slow, false answers become attractive. A poor relationship may look better because loneliness feels heavy. A rushed opportunity may seem wise because you fear missing out. A shortcut may promise relief while quietly leading you away from peace. Do not accept something merely because you are tired of waiting. My beloved child, hunger can make the wrong table look inviting. Pause. Ask whether the choice reflects truth, wisdom, and my character. Ask whether you would still choose it if you were not afraid of delay. Waiting is not meant to make you desperate. It is meant to make you discerning. My beloved child, there will be days when progress feels invisible. On those days, measure differently. Notice that you recover faster after disappointment. Notice that you no longer chase every closed door. Notice that you can sit in silence without immediately assuming abandonment. These are signs of preparation. You may not have received what you asked for yet, but you are no longer the same person who first asked. My beloved child, that change matters. When the appointed season arrives, you will need more than excitement. You will need steadiness. You will need wisdom to recognize what is truly from me and courage to carry it with humility. Waiting is preparing these things within you, so do not call this season wasted. Use it. Let it deepen you. Let it remove what cannot travel with you. Let it teach you to receive without grasping and to hope without losing peace. My beloved child, the promise may be precious, but so is the person you are becoming while you wait. And in the next part, I will show you why every lasting promise requires preparation not only around you, but within you. My beloved child, you have begun to understand that waiting is not empty, it is shaping you. Now I want you to see why the promise itself requires preparation. What I am bringing into your life may be good, but goodness still needs a heart strong enough to carry it wisely. You often ask when the door will open. I also ask what kind of person will walk through it. My beloved child, a blessing received before character is ready can become a burden. An opportunity can create pressure. Influence can awaken pride. A relationship can expose wounds that were never healed. Even success can become dangerous when identity depends on being admired. This is why preparation matters. Think of Joseph. He received a dream while he was still young, but the dream did not become his reality immediately. Between the promise and the position came betrayal, slavery, false accusation, and prison. My beloved child Joseph was not only waiting for a place of authority, he was being prepared to carry authority without becoming cruel. The young man who once spoke eagerly about his dream had to learn patience, restraint, wisdom, and compassion. He had to understand suffering before he could serve people who were suffering. He had to learn how to remain faithful when no one rewarded him. The palace was being prepared for Joseph, but Joseph was also being prepared for the palace. My beloved child, the same principle may be working in your life. You see the delay and think something is wrong. I may be strengthening the part of you that would otherwise collapse under the weight of what you requested. You ask for greater responsibility, but responsibility requires consistency. You ask for a healthy relationship, but healthy love requires honesty, boundaries, patience, and the ability to receive correction. You ask for influence, but influence requires humility. You ask for more resources, but more resources require wisdom. My beloved child, I am not withholding good things to punish you. I am building the inner structure that will help you keep what is good without losing yourself. A house can look beautiful from the outside, but if the foundation is shallow, pressure will reveal the weakness. This is why builders spend time on what no one applauds. The foundation comes before the rooms. My beloved child, some of the work I am doing in you is hidden because foundations are hidden. You may be learning to keep your word. You may be learning to manage what you already have. You may be learning to stop reacting from fear. You may be learning to remain calm when plans change. These lessons may not feel exciting, but they are preparing you for stability. Do not despise repetition. A musician practices the same movement until it becomes natural. An athlete trains when no crowd is watching. A farmer prepares the soil before expecting a harvest. My beloved child, preparation often feels ordinary because it is built through ordinary faithfulness. You want one dramatic moment to change everything. Sometimes I change everything through small decisions repeated over time. You wake and choose truth again. You complete what you started. You apologize when pride wants to defend itself. You rest before exhaustion turns into resentment. You save instead of spending to escape emotion. You ask for help instead of hiding. My beloved child, these are not small acts. They are evidence that your capacity is growing. Capacity means you can carry more without becoming controlled by more. You can receive praise without needing it. You can experience disappointment without falling apart. You can hold influence without looking down on others. You can love someone without abandoning yourself. You can succeed without forgetting me. My beloved child, this is the kind of preparation that protects the promise. Remember Moses. He spent years in Pharaoh's household, then years in the wilderness tending sheep. When I called him to lead, he felt unqualified. Yet both seasons had prepared something within him. He understood the language of power, and he understood the quiet discipline of the wilderness. My beloved child, no season is wasted when it is surrendered. The place you thought was only delay may be teaching you something the next season will require. The work you consider unimportant may be training your attention. The relationship that exposed your weakness may be showing you where healing is needed. Preparation is not always comfortable. Sometimes it removes what cannot travel with you. Pride must be confronted. Impatience must be softened. The need for approval must lose its power. Old habits must be released. My beloved child, do not ask me to open a new door while refusing to release the patterns that would damage what waits beyond it. You cannot carry every old response into a new season. If you enter new responsibility with the same avoidance, the pressure will increase. If you enter a healthy relationship with the same fear of honesty, intimacy will remain limited. If you enter greater opportunity with the same lack of discipline, the opportunity may become chaos. My beloved child, preparation is mercy because it reveals these things before the cost becomes greater. Let me correct you without interpreting correction as rejection. A gardener prunes a healthy branch not because the branch is useless, but because greater fruit requires focused growth. My beloved child, some things are being removed because your life is making room for what is more important. This may include relationships that continually pull you backward. It may include commitments that consume energy without serving your purpose. It may include beliefs about yourself that were formed through pain rather than truth. Release them. Do not cling to what feels familiar simply because preparation feels uncertain. My beloved child, you may wonder how to cooperate with this process. Begin by becoming honest about where you are. What responsibility do you keep avoiding? What habit weakens your peace? What skill do you need to learn? What conversation have you delayed? What part of your character becomes unstable under pressure? Do not answer with shame. Answer with willingness. My beloved child, preparation is not about proving that you deserve the promise. It is about becoming able to receive with wisdom, gratitude, and steadiness. Grace gives the gift. Growth teaches you how to carry it. You will never become completely flawless. That is not the goal. The goal is maturity. Maturity listens. Maturity takes responsibility. Maturity can wait without becoming bitter. Maturity can receive without becoming proud. My beloved child, allow this season to make you deep, not merely eager. When the promise comes, excitement may carry you for a moment, but only character will help you remain faithful after the emotion fades. So continue the hidden work. Keep the small commitments. Practice peace. Choose honesty. Let me strengthen what will support the life ahead. Nothing surrendered to me is ever too ordinary to become useful. My beloved child, the promise requires preparation. But preparation does not always look impressive. Often it begins with something small placed faithfully into my hands. And in the next part, I will show you how quiet beginnings can carry miracles far greater than their size. My beloved child, the promise requires preparation, but preparation often begins in ways that seem too small to matter. A quiet prayer, a simple act of obedience, a decision made when no one is watching. These moments may not impress the world, yet they can carry the beginning of something much greater than you can see. Do not underestimate what begins quietly. My beloved child, you often imagine that a miracle must announce itself with power. You expect a dramatic sign, an immediate answer, or a sudden change that leaves no room for doubt. But many of my greatest works begin without applause. A seed enters the ground in silence. A single yes can redirect an entire life. Think of the widow who had only a small amount of oil. Debt surrounded her. Fear pressed against her home. From her perspective, what remained seemed too little to change anything. But my beloved child, I did not ask her to begin with what she lacked. I asked her to notice what was still in her hands. She gathered empty vessels. She poured what seemed insufficient. And as she continued, the oil continued. The miracle did not begin with abundance. It began with willingness. My beloved child, you may be looking at your life and saying, I do not have enough, not enough strength, not enough experience, not enough money, not enough support, not enough confidence. But I am asking a different question. What have I already placed within your reach? Perhaps you have 1 hour, one skill, one honest conversation, one idea you have delayed, one prayer you can still whisper. My beloved child, the beginning does not need to look large. It needs to be surrendered. You often dismiss what is small because you compare it with the size of the need. The widow could have looked at the empty vessels and felt foolish. The oil in her house did not appear equal to the pressure around her. Yet obedience created room for provision. My beloved child, sometimes the empty spaces in your life are not proof that nothing is coming. They are vessels waiting to be filled. Do not rush to fill every emptiness with the first thing that appears. An empty schedule may become room for a new assignment. A closed relationship may become room for healing. My beloved child, emptiness can feel uncomfortable, but it can also create capacity. Remember the servants at the wedding in Cana. The celebration faced embarrassment because the wine had run out. I told the servants to fill ordinary jars with water. They could have argued that water was not what the situation required. They could have dismissed the instruction because it seemed unrelated to the need. Instead, they filled the jars. My beloved child, their obedience looked ordinary before the transformation became visible. This is how quiet beginnings often work. You do something simple because it is the next faithful step. You do not yet see how it connects to the answer. You study, you practice, you forgive, you prepare. Then in time, what looked ordinary becomes part of something you could not have produced by effort alone. My beloved child, the miracle is not always that something appears from nothing. Sometimes the miracle is that what already exists becomes enough when it is placed in my hands. A small gift becomes useful. A painful story becomes comfort for someone else. A season of weakness becomes a place where compassion grows. Do not call insignificant what I have not finished using. My beloved child, you may be waiting until you feel inspired, but faithfulness often begins before inspiration arrives. The person who writes one page today may finish the work others only discuss. The person who prays for a few honest minutes each morning may slowly develop a heart that recognizes my voice. Small does not mean powerless. Small repeated with faith becomes formation. My beloved child, I am not asking you to create a miracle that belongs to me. I am asking you to offer what you have with sincerity. The boy who brought loaves and fish could not feed the crowd. He could only release what was in his hands. He did not multiply it. I did. My beloved child, this is the freedom I want you to understand. Your responsibility is faithfulness. The outcome is not yours to control. You plant, you water, you prepare, you obey. I give growth in ways and timing you cannot force. My beloved child, quiet beginnings also protect tender things. A new habit may need privacy before it becomes strong. A restored relationship may need time before it can carry trust again. A calling may need hidden practice before public responsibility arrives. Do not expose every beginning to people who only know how to criticize what is still growing. My beloved child, wisdom knows that not everything needs an audience. Mary carried the promise within her before the world could understand it. For a season, the work was hidden, forming quietly, where human eyes could not measure it. Some things in you also need time under my care. You do not have to announce every plan. You do not need applause to prove that growth is real. My beloved child, let the beginning remain sacred if that is what it needs. There will be people who call your step too small. They may not understand why you are moving slowly, learning quietly, or protecting your peace. Do not allow their impatience to become your pace. A foundation is not impressive while it is being laid, but the future strength of the house depends on it. My beloved child, remain faithful to the hidden work. There are days when the result looks unchanged. Keep going. There are moments when you wonder whether the small act is making any difference. Do not decide too quickly. A river shapes stone through steady movement, not one dramatic wave. My beloved child, consistency often carries the miracle farther than excitement can. Excitement begins quickly and disappears when the work becomes repetitive. Faithfulness continues after the feeling fades. This is why I value the quiet. Yes, you repeat. Yes, I will forgive again. Yes, I will keep learning. Yes, I will protect what is healthy. Yes, I will return to truth. My beloved child, heaven sees these choices. Do not measure their value only by immediate results. Some of the fruit will appear later. Some may shape your family long after this season ends. You do not always know how far one faithful decision can travel. My beloved child, begin with what is in front of you. Use the time you have. Offer the strength you have. Speak the truth you know. Do not wait until your hands feel full. Bring me the little, and let me decide what it can become. Keep listening. The quiet beginning you almost ignored may carry a greater purpose than you imagined. And as you learn to honor these small beginnings, you will also begin to see your ordinary days differently. In the next part, I will show you how the moments that seem uneventful are preparing you for what comes next. My beloved child, as you learn to honor quiet beginnings, look again at the days you have called ordinary. You wake, work, care for responsibilities, repeat familiar tasks, and wonder whether anything meaningful is happening. Yet these simple days are often where I prepare you most deeply. Do not despise what seems uneventful. My beloved child, the world teaches you to notice only moments that are visible, dramatic, and praised. It celebrates the stage, but rarely sees the years of practice. It notices the harvest, but not the hands that prepared the soil. I see both. I see the mornings when you rise before you feel ready. These ordinary choices are shaping your character. My beloved child, you often ask me for a new season while overlooking the training hidden inside the present one. You imagine preparation will feel spiritual, exciting, or clearly connected to your future. It may look like managing a small responsibility with care. It may look like remaining kind when no one rewards your kindness. Think of David before he stood before Goliath. Long before anyone called him courageous, he spent quiet days caring for sheep. There was no crowd, no throne, and no public honor. Yet in those fields, David learned attention, responsibility, courage, and worship. My beloved child, the same hands that later held a sling had already learned faithfulness through ordinary work. David did not know that protecting the flock was preparing him for a greater battle. He simply did what was in front of him. Do not wait for a larger assignment before becoming faithful. My beloved child, how you handle what appears small reveals how you may carry what becomes large. If you neglect simple commitments, greater responsibility will not create discipline. If you avoid honest conversations now, a new relationship will not automatically make you courageous. If you cannot rest without guilt today, greater success may only deepen exhaustion. My beloved child, your ordinary days are teaching you what you truly believe. When plans change, do you panic or pause? When no one notices your effort, do you become careless or remain steady? When progress feels slow, do you abandon the process or continue? Do not condemn yourself when you notice weakness. Use the discovery. A mirror is not an enemy because it shows what needs attention. In the same way, ordinary pressure reveals what I want to strengthen within you. My beloved child, there are skills you are gaining without realizing their future value. You may be learning how to organize, communicate, save, teach, repair, lead, or care for others. The task may feel disconnected from the dream in your heart, but I can use what you are learning later in ways you cannot predict. Remember, Moses. Before he led people through the wilderness, he spent years tending sheep there. The land that seemed like exile became familiar ground. The patience required to guide animals prepared part of him for guiding people. My beloved child, what feels like a detour may still contain training. Even the job you did not plan to keep may teach endurance. The season of caring for someone may deepen compassion. The time spent rebuilding after failure may give you wisdom no easy success could provide. My beloved child, ordinary days also teach you how to live without constant emotional excitement. You have sometimes believed that if you do not feel inspired, you are not growing, but emotions rise and fall. A mature life cannot depend on feeling motivated every morning. Faithfulness continues when the feeling is quiet. You pray even when the words feel simple. You choose patience even when no warmth appears. You do the healthy thing even when the old habit feels more comforting. My beloved child, consistency creates depth. A tree is not strengthened by one day of sunlight. It grows through seasons of light, rain, wind, and stillness. Roots deepen slowly because they must hold what will later rise above the ground. You are growing in the same way. Do not demand visible fruit from every day. Some days are for planting, some are for pruning, some are simply for remaining rooted. My beloved child, remaining can be holy. There will be days when the most faithful thing you do is not quit. You may not complete something impressive. You may only care for your body, answer one responsibility, and keep your heart from returning to despair. Heaven does not call it wasted. My beloved child, you have compared your ordinary life with the highlights of other people. You see their celebration, but not their hidden preparation. Then you judge your own season as too slow or too small. Release that comparison. You do not know what their road required. You do not know what their success costs. You do not know what I am forming in them or in you. My beloved child, comparison makes ordinary faithfulness feel insignificant. Gratitude helps you see what is already being built. Notice the patience you did not have before. Notice the boundary you can now hold. Notice that disappointment no longer controls you for as long. Notice the wisdom growing in your responses. These changes may not create applause, but they are evidence of preparation. My beloved child, I am teaching you to become dependable before I increase what depends on you. Dependability is not glamorous, but it is precious. It means your words and actions begin to agree. It means you do not need to be watched in order to do what is right. It means you can be trusted with another person's vulnerability, a responsibility, or an opportunity. These qualities grow in ordinary rooms. My beloved child, do not rush through today while waiting for tomorrow to feel important. Listen to the person in front of you. Care for what has already been entrusted to you. Rest when your body needs rest. Let today become part of the foundation instead of merely a hallway you hurry through. My beloved child, some of your future prayers are being answered through the discipline you are practicing now. The confidence you want may be growing through repeated action. The wisdom you need may be forming through mistakes you are learning to correct. The peace you seek may be strengthened each time you refuse to react quickly. Preparation is often hidden inside repetition. My beloved child, one day an opportunity may appear suddenly, and others may call it an overnight change. But you will know it was built through many ordinary mornings. You will remember the quiet work. You will remember the small choices. You will remember how I remained with you when nothing seemed to be moving. Do not call this season empty. Let ordinary faithfulness prepare your hands, your mind, and your heart. My beloved child, the next door does not need you to become famous. It needs you to become ready. And readiness is being formed today. As you learn to honor the preparation hidden in ordinary days, you will stop trying to force the future. In the next part, I will show you why the right door opens at the appointed time, not through panic, but through my faithful guidance. My beloved child, as you learn to honor the preparation hidden in ordinary days, you can stop trying to force tomorrow before it arrives. It opens at the appointed time when wisdom, opportunity, and readiness meet beneath my guidance. You have prayed, waited, and wondered whether the silence means the answer is gone. My beloved child, silence is not always rejection. Sometimes a door remains closed because the room beyond it is not ready. Sometimes you are still learning what you will need when you enter. Sometimes other lives, decisions, and circumstances are still being arranged in ways you cannot see. You see the handle. I see everything connected to the door. This is why timing matters. You are not behind when I am patiently teaching you how to wait well. You are being aligned with a moment that cannot be rushed by human effort alone. Think of Esther. She did not understand every change that brought her into the palace. What looked like disruption, uncertainty, and pressure became part of a larger purpose. Yet even after she arrived, she could not act carelessly. There was a moment to speak, a moment to prepare, and a moment to step forward with courage. My beloved child, being positioned is not the same as being released. You may sense change coming and still need to wait for clarity. Do not push a door because you are tired of standing outside. A door forced open before its time can lead you into a room you are not ready to carry. My beloved child, the world celebrates speed. It tells you that hesitation means weakness and that every opportunity must be seized before someone else takes it. But my kingdom does not operate through panic. What belongs within my will does not need fear to hold it together. You may need courage, but you should not need confusion. You may need sacrifice, but you should not need to betray truth. You may need patience, but you should not need to destroy your peace. My beloved child, learn to recognize the difference between urgency and pressure. Urgency can be clear. Pressure is often chaotic. Urgency says, "This is the faithful step before you." Pressure says, "Act now, or your whole future will be ruined." Urgency can coexist with peace. Pressure attacks your identity and makes you believe everything depends on one desperate decision. My beloved child, when you feel pressed, pause long enough to ask what is driving you. Is it faith? Is it fear? Is it comparison? Is it loneliness? Is it the desire to prove that your waiting was not wasted? Remember Habakkuk, who received a vision and was told that it had an appointed time. Though it seemed delayed, he was called to wait for it. My beloved child, waiting for the appointed time does not mean doing nothing. It means preparing without pretending you control the hour. A farmer tends the field but cannot command the season. A sailor prepares the vessel but does not control the wind. You can prepare your heart, strengthen your habits, finish your work, and remain attentive. Then, when the opening comes, you will be ready to respond without scrambling. My beloved child, use the waiting well. Do not spend it watching the door every hour. Live, serve, learn, rest, complete what has already been entrusted to you. The door is not the only place where I am present. My beloved child, you sometimes make the future opportunity so important that the present becomes invisible. You say you will be grateful after the answer comes. You say you will have peace after the change begins. But peace practiced only after success is fragile. I am teaching you to live fully before the door opens. My beloved child, no open door can carry the weight of being your savior. A new job cannot heal every insecurity. A relationship cannot complete every empty place. Greater recognition cannot silence every fear. It cannot become your identity. When you know who you are before the opportunity arrives, you can receive it without clinging to it. You can walk through with gratitude instead of desperation. My beloved child, some doors remain closed because I am protecting you from a substitute. You asked for connection, and a familiar but unhealthy person returned. You asked for progress, and an opportunity appeared that required compromise. You asked for relief, and a shortcut promised quick comfort at a hidden cost. Not every opening is my answer. This is why discernment must grow alongside desire. My beloved child, an open door can still lead in the wrong direction. Look at the fruit. Does the path require dishonesty? Does it repeatedly disturb the convictions I have been forming in you? Does it demand that you ignore wise counsel? Does it feed pride, secrecy, or fear? Do not call every opportunity provision. Sometimes faith means walking forward. Sometimes faith means keeping a door closed. My beloved child, I can guide you in both. There may also be a door you expected to open that never does. This can hurt deeply. You may have prayed sincerely and prepared faithfully, yet the outcome remains different from what you hoped. Do not pretend it does not hurt, but do not decide that one closed door means your whole future is closed. My beloved child, I am not limited to one path. Paul wanted to travel in one direction, but the way was restrained. Later, another invitation became clear, and the journey continued through a different region. The closed route did not cancel the calling. It redirected the movement. My beloved child, your purpose is larger than one opportunity. What I am forming in you can travel through more than one door. If one plan ends, wisdom remains. If one relationship changes, love can still mature. If one dream is reshaped, purpose can still continue. Do not worship the form while missing the deeper work. My beloved child, when the appointed door finally opens, you may feel both peace and fear. Do not assume fear means the moment is wrong. The question is whether beneath the trembling there is a steady recognition that the time has come. You may notice repeated confirmation. You may see that preparation now meets opportunity. You may receive wise agreement from people who know your character. You may feel a quiet conviction that waiting longer would become disobedience. My beloved child, then step. Do not keep asking for signs after clarity has arrived. Do not remain outside because the room is larger than your confidence. Take the next faithful action, and when the door opens, enter with humility. Remember the hidden days. Remember what waiting taught you. Remember that timing was a gift, not an obstacle. My beloved child, the appointed moment is not proof that you earned everything. It is an invitation to steward what has been placed before you. Walk through without pride. Walk through without panic. Walk through with gratitude. And be prepared, because after a long season of stillness, change may begin more quickly than you expected. In the next part, I will show you how to remain peaceful when everything starts moving. My beloved child, the appointed door has begun to open, and now the stillness you became used to is giving way to movement. What you once prayed for begins to take shape, yet instead of feeling only joy, you may feel overwhelmed. Do not panic when everything begins to move. My beloved child, waiting trained you to endure silence. Now movement will teach you how to remain steady while life changes around you. You once feared nothing would happen. Now you fear too much is happening at once. This is why peace must travel with you into the new season. Think of the Israelites when the time came to leave Egypt. For years they had cried for freedom. Then suddenly the moment arrived. Instructions were given. Meals were prepared. Families gathered what they could carry. The people had to move before they felt settled. My beloved child, answered prayer can still feel disruptive. Freedom changes routines. New opportunity changes responsibility. Healing changes relationships. A door opening may require you to release the pace, identity, or habits that belong to the waiting season. You may feel grateful and unsettled together. That does not mean the movement is wrong. My beloved child, your nervous system may need time to understand what your spirit has already accepted. After living under pressure for a long season, even good change can feel threatening because it is unfamiliar. Be gentle with yourself. You do not need to process every change in one day. You do not need to prove that you are ready by moving faster than wisdom allows. Pause between decisions. Pray before commitments. Ask wise questions. Let peace become part of the process, not a reward you hope to find after everything is complete. You may be tempted to say yes to every opportunity because you are afraid the season will close again. But abundance of options does not mean every option belongs to you. My beloved child, an open season still requires boundaries. When rain comes after drought, a wise farmer does not abandon the channels that guide the water. Without direction, even something needed can create damage. In the same way, you need structure for the movement arriving in your life. Choose priorities. Protect rest. Keep promises realistic. Do not allow excitement to make you careless with your health, your relationships, or the quiet practices that helped you hear me. My beloved child, do not leave my presence simply because the answer has arrived. Some people pray closely while waiting, then become too busy to listen once the door opens. They treat my presence like a hallway they needed only until they reach the room. But I did not guide you this far so you could begin carrying the new season alone. Stay near. My beloved child, remember Joshua when the people crossed the Jordan. The river opened and the nation moved into territory they had waited years to enter. Yet entering the land did not mean every challenge disappeared. They still needed courage, obedience, patience, and strategy. The promise had become movement, but movement still required dependence. My beloved child, arrival is not the end of faith. It is a new place to practice it. You may have prayed for connection. Now healthy love asks you to communicate honestly. You may have prayed for opportunity. Now discipline must support what excitement began. Do not resent the responsibility attached to the answer. My beloved child, what you receive must be stewarded. Stewardship means you care for the gift without allowing the gift to become your master. It means you can enjoy growth without making growth your identity. It means you remember the hidden season so pride does not erase gratitude. My beloved child movement may also reveal fear you did not know was still present. You may fear being seen. You may fear making a mistake in front of others. You may fear that the good season will disappear as quickly as it arrived. Do not let these fears drive you into overwork, control, or constant suspicion. The answer does not become safer because you grip it tightly. My beloved child, hold what I give with open hands. Open hands can receive. Open hands can serve. Control closes the hand until the gift becomes a burden. Trust allows you to care without believing everything depends on you. My beloved child, when change accelerates, return to simple rhythms. Begin the morning in quiet. Complete one important task before chasing many smaller ones. Speak honestly with people you trust. End the day by noticing what went well and what needs wisdom tomorrow. These practices may seem ordinary, but they keep your soul from being pulled apart by speed. My beloved child, do not confuse activity with obedience. You can be busy and still be moving in the wrong direction. You can chase every new possibility and lose the peace that helped you recognize the first door. Ask me what deserves your yes. Ask me what must receive a no. Ask me what can wait. My beloved child, not everything urgent is important, and not everything important will shout. Learn to recognize the quiet responsibility beneath the loud demands. Remember Mary, after receiving the message that her life would change in a way she had never expected. She did not understand every consequence. She asked an honest question, received what was needed, and surrendered. Yet she also carried the promise quietly before the world could see it. My beloved child, some movement must still be protected by silence. Do not announce every detail before it is ready. Do not invite every opinion into a tender beginning. Let what is forming develop under wisdom, prayer, and trusted counsel. My beloved child, movement may bring losses alongside gains. A new season may require a different schedule. Certain comforts may no longer fit the responsibility you now carry. Grieve what must be released, but do not call every sacrifice a mistake. Growth creates space by changing what can remain. My beloved child, when everything begins to move, you may wish for the simplicity of the waiting season. This does not mean you should go backward. It means you need to build peace inside the movement. You already learned how to trust me in silence. Now learn how to trust me in speed. I am still the same God. When the phone rings, the plans change, and the decisions multiply. My voice has not become harder to hear. You need to return to the quiet center where fear cannot command you. My beloved child, take the changes one day at a time. Do not carry next month inside this morning. Do not make a final judgment about a season that has just begun. Let mistakes correct you without crushing you. Let gratitude keep your heart soft. My beloved child, I am not asking you to control the movement. I am asking you to remain connected to me within it. The door has opened, but you still do not need the entire map. You will understand some things only after you begin walking. And in the next part, I will show you why faith often moves before understanding becomes complete. My beloved child, now that the door has opened and movement has begun, you may still be waiting for complete understanding before you fully commit. You want every detail explained, every risk removed. But faith often walks before understanding is complete. My beloved child, this does not mean I ask you to ignore wisdom. I am not calling you to be careless. I am teaching you that there are moments when obedience must move with enough light for the next step. You say, when I understand, I will trust. When I know the outcome, I will move. When I feel no fear, I will obey. Faith says, I may not understand everything, but I know enough about the one who leads me. Think of Abraham when I called him to leave what was familiar. He did not receive a complete map. He was told to go toward a land that would be shown to him. The destination became clearer through obedience. I give a direction before every explanation. I give a promise before revealing every process. I give enough truth to begin, then more truth as you continue. But complete knowledge can become another form of control. You begin trusting the plan more than the one who wrote it. A child walking through a crowded place may not understand the route, but the child can hold a trusted hand. The safety is not in knowing every turn. The safety is in staying connected. Stay connected, but do not demand that every mystery disappear before you take the next faithful step. You can study courage, but courage becomes real when you speak the truth. You can read about forgiveness, but forgiveness becomes real when you release revenge. You can talk about trust, but trust becomes real when the outcome is no longer in your hands. Understanding deepens through obedience. Remember the priests carrying the ark toward the Jordan River. The waters did not divide while they stood at a safe distance. Their feet had to enter the river before the way opened. My beloved child, the miracle met them in motion. They responded to what had been made clear. The next step feels risky because you cannot see how everything will work. You wonder whether the path will open after you move. My beloved child, ask whether the step is faithful, not whether it is comfortable. Does it lead toward honesty, responsibility, healing, and peace? Has the conviction remained after emotion settled? Have mature people confirmed what you are sensing? If the answer is yes, then fear may not be warning you. It may be reacting to the unfamiliar. Sometimes discomfort is the doorway between who you were and who you are becoming. You may need to begin before you feel skilled. You may need to speak before your voice becomes steady. You may need to leave before you know what will replace the old place. It is choosing not to let difficulty become your master. Think of Moses at the burning bush. He had many reasons why he believed he was not the right person. He questioned his ability, his voice, and how others would respond. I did not answer every fear by making Moses feel instantly powerful. I answered with my presence. My beloved child, what you cannot do alone does not prove the calling is wrong. You want confidence before obedience, but confidence often grows through obedience. The first step may feel weak. The second may still feel uncertain. Yet each faithful response teaches your heart that it can move without being ruled by fear. My beloved child, do not wait for a version of yourself that never trembles. What can exist is a version of you who trembles and still chooses truth. A version of you who asks for help. A version of you who learns from mistakes. A version of you who returns quickly when you drift. My beloved child, you may make a decision and later need to adjust. Adjustment does not always mean the first step was wrong. A sailor changes direction when the wind shifts while still moving toward the destination. Remain humble enough to listen after you begin. Do not become so attached to your interpretation that you refuse correction. My beloved child, there is a difference between obedience and stubbornness. Obedience remains soft. Stubbornness says, I have started, so I must continue, even if truth reveals another path. Obedience says, I will keep walking with you, even if you change the route. You are following me, not worshiping your first plan. My beloved child, the need to understand everything often hides a deeper fear. You are afraid of regret, looking foolish, or making a mistake that damages your future. You can make a humble mistake and still be guided. You can learn. You can apologize. You can begin again. My beloved child, grace can meet you on an imperfect road. It removes the terror that says you must predict everything perfectly. Bring me your best wisdom. Bring me your honest motives. Bring me your willingness to be corrected. Then take the next faithful step. Do not spend years asking for clarity about what can only become clear through action. My beloved child, some answers are waiting on the other side of obedience. You will understand why the boundary mattered after peace returns. You will understand why the old season ended after new growth appears. You will understand why you had to release control after experiencing the freedom of trust. My beloved child, this is why memory matters. Look back at the times you moved with limited understanding and later saw how I guided you. Remember the conversation you feared but needed. Remember the ending that protected your future. Remember the delay that changed your direction. Your life already carries evidence that I can lead you through what you do not yet understand. My beloved child, faith is not a leap into emptiness. It is a step toward the character of the one who has remained faithful before. So move gently, move wisely, move prayerfully, but move. Do not make uncertainty your permanent home. You may not see the entire road, but you can see enough to take the next honest step. My beloved child, obedience may feel ordinary after the first step. There may be no sudden sign, no immediate relief, and no visible confirmation. Continue anyway. Let consistency carry what emotion cannot. Each day you remain honest, patient, and available too. My guidance understanding grows a little deeper. The road teaches you while you walk it. The questions that once felt urgent begin to lose their power because your trust is no longer waiting for perfect explanations. You discover that peace can exist beside mystery. You discover that my presence is not delayed until every answer arrives. It is already with you, steadying each decision and shaping every response, even now. My beloved child, as you continue, the path may still look disordered. Several changes may overlap. Questions may remain unanswered. Yet confusion around you does not mean I have lost control. In the next part, I will show you how to remain steady when chaos makes everything look unfinished. My beloved child, as you continue walking, before every answer becomes clear, you may look around and see unfinished pieces everywhere. Plans overlap, emotions rise and fall, people change their minds. What once seemed simple becomes complicated, and you begin to wonder whether everything is slipping beyond my hands. Chaos does not mean I have lost control. My beloved child, disorder is not the same as abandonment. A room can look scattered while someone is rebuilding it. A field can look torn open while new seed is being planted. A life can feel unsettled while old structures are being removed and healthier ones are beginning to form. You often judge the whole story from the mess of one chapter. But I see the beginning, the middle, and the end. Think of the first pages of creation. The earth was without form, darkness covered the deep, and nothing yet resembled the world that would come. Yet my spirit was already moving over the waters. My beloved child, before order became visible, my presence was active. The darkness did not mean I was absent. The unfinished state did not mean I had failed. What looked empty was already being prepared for light. Your life can feel the same. You may be standing in a season where old plans no longer fit, but new direction has not fully appeared. Relationships may be shifting. Responsibilities may be increasing. Your heart may be healing while your circumstances remain unsettled. My beloved child, do not call the process destruction when I may be creating space. My beloved child, confusion often grows when you try to solve everything at once. You gather every question, every fear, and every possible outcome into one thought. Then the weight becomes too heavy for today. Separate what belongs to this moment from what belongs to the future. What decision must be made now? What can wait? What is within your responsibility? What belongs in my hands? My beloved child, not every loose thread requires immediate pulling. A weaver sees individual strands crossing in directions that seem meaningless. From beneath the loom, the colors may look tangled, but above the frame, the pattern is being formed with intention. You are looking from underneath. I see the design from above. Human choices can cause harm, but nothing surrendered to me is beyond redemption. My beloved child, I can work within what I did not desire. I can bring wisdom from disappointment. I can bring clearer boundaries from betrayal. I can bring compassion from grief. I can bring a new direction from a plan that ended. The broken pieces do not become good simply because I use them, but they do not have to remain meaningless. Think of Joseph. If he had judged his life while standing in the pit, he might have believed the dream was over. If he had judged it from the prison, he might have concluded that faithfulness had brought nothing but loss. Yet the chapter he could see was not the whole story. My beloved child, Joseph's brothers acted with harm. False accusation created injustice. Being forgotten in prison caused pain. I did not call those actions good, but I continued working. Skills were being formed. Character was being tested. Connections were being arranged. And at the right time, what looked disconnected became part of a larger rescue. My beloved child, do not force meaning before it has time to become clear. Some understanding comes later. For now, you may only need to know that I am present and that the next faithful step still matters. You only need to refuse the lie that confusion means I have left you. My beloved child, when chaos becomes loud, return to simple truths. You are still loved. You are not alone. You can ask for wisdom. You can make one honest decision. You can rest before reacting. You can seek help. You can begin again. These truths become anchors when your thoughts are moving too quickly. My beloved child, the mind under pressure often searches for certainty in the wrong places. It may cling to rumors, other people's opinions, constant updates, or imagined conclusions. But more information does not always create more peace. Sometimes you need less noise and more stillness. My beloved child, peace does not require everything around you to be organized. It requires somewhere steady within you to stand. Remember the disciples in the boat while the storm raged. Water entered, wind struck. Their surroundings gave them every reason to panic. Yet I was still in the boat. My beloved child, my presence did not depend on calm water. They thought the storm meant they were forgotten, but the one they feared had abandoned them was closer than they understood. You may also ask, do you care that I am struggling? My answer is yes. I care about the pressure, the exhaustion, the unanswered questions, and the fear that you may not be able to hold everything together. But my beloved child, you were never asked to hold everything together. That is part of what chaos is teaching you. You are learning the limits of your control. You are learning that constant vigilance cannot guarantee safety. You are learning that your peace must come from something deeper than predictability. My beloved child, when everything feels unstable, do not make permanent decisions from temporary panic. Pause. Sleep before answering if time allows. Ask for counsel. Let strong emotions settle. A confused moment can distort what is true. My beloved child, sometimes the faithful response is to remain still until clarity returns. Stillness is not passivity when it protects you from fear-driven choices. It is trust refusing to be pushed by panic. Yet there will also be moments when one clear step is visible amid the confusion. Take it. Do not wait for the entire room to become ordered before picking up the first piece. My beloved child, order often returns through small, faithful actions. Each honest action places something back where it belongs. You may not see the full pattern yet, but you can participate in the next right movement. My beloved child, I am not overwhelmed by the number of things happening in your life. I do not need to stop and gather information. Nothing has arrived without my awareness. Your confusion is not my confusion. Your limited view is not my limited power. I can guide you through overlapping changes without revealing every detail at once. My beloved child, one day you may look back and see that the season you called chaos was also a season of rearrangement. What fell away created space. What slowed down protected you. What changed taught you to listen differently. But even if some questions remain unanswered, my presence will still have carried you. Let that be enough for today. Chaos does not mean I have lost control. It means you must stop measuring my faithfulness by how organized your circumstances appear. And as you stop trying to hold every piece together, you will become ready for the next lesson. In the next part, I will show you how to lay down the burdens I never asked you to carry. My beloved child, now that you are beginning to see that chaos does not mean I have lost control, I want you to notice what you have been trying to hold together with your own hands. Some of the weight on your heart was never given to you by me. Lay down what I never asked you to carry. My beloved child, you have grown used to responsibility. You try to prevent disappointment. You carry conversations long after they end, wondering what you should have done differently. But care can become control when you believe everything depends on you. You are not responsible for every reaction. You are not responsible for fixing every person. You are not responsible for preventing every painful outcome. My beloved child, there is a difference between love and carrying what belongs to someone else. Love can support, love can listen, love can speak truth. But love cannot make another person choose healing, honesty, or maturity. You have tried to carry people who did not want to walk. You have stayed awake over decisions that were not yours to make. You have blamed yourself for choices another person made freely. My beloved child, release what is not yours. Think of Moses when the burden of leading the people became too heavy. He listened to every dispute and tried to carry every problem himself. Jethro saw that this pattern would wear him down and told him to share responsibility with trustworthy people. My beloved child, even a faithful leader was not meant to do everything alone. Delegating was not failure. Receiving help was not weakness. It was wisdom. You may have confused exhaustion with faithfulness. You think that if you are truly loving, responsible, or devoted, you should be able to keep giving without limits. But my beloved child, constant depletion is not proof of devotion. A lamp that is never refilled cannot keep giving light. You need rest. You need boundaries. You need places where your soul is not solving, managing, rescuing, or explaining. My beloved child, I did not create you to live in a permanent state of emergency. Some burdens are made of fear. You worry that if you stop controlling the details, everything will collapse. You check, plan, remind, and prepare beyond what wisdom requires because uncertainty feels unbearable. But control cannot give the safety you are asking from it. It can only keep your mind busy. My beloved child, surrender is not carelessness. It is the honest recognition that your reach has limits, and my reach does not. You can make a wise plan and still release the outcome. You can prepare carefully and still admit that tomorrow is not in your hands. You can love deeply and still refuse to become another person's savior. My beloved child, let me be God. You do not need to carry the whole future inside one tired mind. Remember Martha. She welcomed me into her home, but her attention became divided by many tasks. She was serving, yet frustration grew because she believed everything had to be done in the way she imagined. Mary sat near me and listened. My beloved child, I did not condemn service. I corrected the anxiety that had swallowed the purpose of service. Martha was doing many things, but she was losing peace in my presence. You can do something good in an unhealthy way. You can serve while resentful. You can help while secretly needing to feel indispensable. You can care while ignoring the condition of your own soul. My beloved child, ask yourself, what is driving you? Is it love? Is it fear of disappointing others? Is it the need to be needed? Is it guilt when you say no? Is it the belief that your value comes from how much you can endure? These questions invite freedom. My beloved child, some burdens are old roles you learned in your family. Perhaps you became the peacemaker, the strong one, the responsible one, or the person who never caused trouble. Those roles may have helped you survive, but they can become cages when you believe you are never allowed to need help. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to say, I cannot do this alone. You are allowed to pause before answering. You are allowed to disappoint an expectation that was built on your exhaustion. My beloved child, a boundary is not cruelty when it protects what is healthy. It may feel uncomfortable because people were used to your immediate yes. They may say you have changed when you stop carrying what they refuse to carry themselves. My beloved child, growth often changes access. Remain kind. Remain honest, but do not return to self-abandonment in order to make others comfortable. There are also burdens made of regret. You carry old mistakes as though continued suffering will prove that you understand what you did. You replay the past and punish yourself because mercy feels too easy. My beloved child, repentance is meant to change your direction, not chain you forever to the moment you failed. If you need to apologize, apologize. If you need to repair what can be repaired, do so. If you need to accept consequences, face them honestly. Then stop pretending self-hatred is humility. My beloved child, shame is not the same as transformation. Transformation learns. Transformation changes patterns. Transformation receives grace and becomes more truthful. Lay down the belief that you must keep hurting in order to prove that you are sorry. There are burdens made of imagined futures. You suffer events that have not happened. You rehearse losses, rejections, failures, and conversations that exist only in your mind. Return to today. What is actually happening now? What can you do wisely now? What fear are you borrowing from tomorrow? My beloved child, grace is given for the day you are living, not for every possibility your mind can create. You do not need to prepare emotionally for every disaster. You need to remain present enough to recognize the strength available now. Lay down the future you cannot control. Lay down the past you cannot rewrite. Lay down the people you cannot change. Lay down the need to be understood by everyone. My beloved child, open your hands without fear, guilt, or endless explanation. At first, release may feel like emptiness. You may not know what to do without the familiar weight. But empty hands can receive peace. They can receive new responsibility without mixing it with old fear. My beloved child, I am not asking you to stop caring. I am teaching you to care without being consumed. Do what belongs to you. Speak truth. Keep your commitments. Offer help where it is healthy. Then leave room for other people to choose and for me to work beyond your reach. You are my child, not the keeper of the entire world. Let that truth become rest. And as you begin to lay these burdens down, you may discover how long you have been living as though you must survive every battle alone. In the next part, I will remind you that you were never called to be a lonely warrior. My beloved child, now that you are laying down the burdens I never asked you to carry, notice another belief that has exhausted you. You have lived as though strength means facing every battle alone. You do not have to be a lonely warrior. My beloved child, you learned to survive by becoming dependable. You became the person who answered, solved, endured, and kept moving when others became tired. People praised your strength, so you became afraid to show them when you felt weak. But hidden exhaustion is still exhaustion. You may smile while your heart is heavy. You may say everything is fine because you do not want to worry anyone. You may keep helping others while wondering who would notice if you stopped. My beloved child, I notice. I see the nights when your thoughts become louder after everyone else has gone to sleep. I see the tears you wipe away quickly. I see how often you carry pain privately because you fear being misunderstood, judged, or treated like a burden. You are not a burden to me. I did not create you to live as an island. I created you for relationship, support, honest prayer, and wise companionship. Even the strongest heart needs places where it can rest without performing. Think of Elijah after the victory on Mount Carmel. He had stood with courage and witnessed my power. Yet soon afterward he became afraid, exhausted, and overwhelmed. He ran into the wilderness and wanted to give up. My beloved child, I did not meet Elijah first with a lecture. I allowed him to sleep. I provided food and water. I gave his body care before giving him further direction. Sometimes what you call spiritual failure is deep exhaustion. Sometimes the next faithful step is not another battle. It is rest, nourishment, and honest recovery. My beloved child, you cannot hear clearly when your whole being is depleted. Your body matters. Your mind matters. Your need for rest does not make you less devoted. There are moments when the bravest thing you can do is admit that you are tired. You have confused independence with maturity. You think asking for help means you have failed to trust me. But I often answer prayer through people. A friend who listens without rushing you. A counselor who helps you name what has remained hidden. A pastor who reminds you of truth. A doctor who helps care for your body. My beloved child, receiving support is not a rejection of faith. It can be an expression of faith. Remember Moses during the battle with Amalek. As long as his hands were raised, Israel prevailed. But his arms became tired. Aaron and Hur stood beside him and held his hands up until the battle was finished. My beloved child Moses was still called faithful and chosen, yet he needed support. His tired arms did not cancel his purpose. You do not become less valuable because you need someone to help hold your hands. You do not become less spiritual because you need encouragement. You do not become weak because you need to say, I cannot carry this alone. My beloved child, community is not meant to control you. Choose carefully. Not everyone who offers advice has earned the right to guide your heart. Look for people whose presence makes honesty safer. Look for people who do not feed panic. Look for people who can speak truth without humiliating you. My beloved child, you need support, but you also need discernment. Loneliness can make any company feel better than no company. Do not return to unhealthy relationships simply because silence feels uncomfortable. My beloved child, let me teach you the difference between isolation and solitude. Isolation says no one can be trusted, so I must hide. Solitude says I will become quiet so I can return to truth. Isolation closes the heart. Solitude restores it. You need moments alone with me, but not a life built around emotional walls. My beloved child, do not allow one betrayal to convince you that every person will betray you. Do not allow one abandonment to make permanent decisions for your future. You can move slowly. You can build trust gradually. You can observe actions over time. You can keep boundaries while allowing connection to grow. Healing does not require reckless openness. It requires honest, wise openness. My beloved child, there may be people waiting to support you, but you have become so skilled at appearing strong that they do not know you need anything. Speak. Tell one trusted person the truth. Say, I am struggling. Say, I need prayer. Say, I do not need you to fix this. I only need you to listen. My beloved child, clear words give others a chance to love you well. Do not expect people to read what you never reveal. I remain with you when others cannot. I will stay beside you always. My beloved child, I am the companion who does not become tired of your honest heart. You can pray without polished language. You can sit in silence when words will not come. I am not uncomfortable with your weakness. Remember Gethsemane. My son knew sorrow, pressure, and the desire for companionship. He asked his friends to stay awake with him. They failed to understand the moment, yet he continued, bringing his heart before the Father. My beloved child, needing companionship is not weakness. Even sacred courage can include the words, "Stay with me." Strength can cry, strength can rest, strength can ask, strength can receive. My beloved child, the lonely warrior inside you may fear that if you stop fighting, everything will collapse. But the world is not being held together by your exhaustion. You are allowed to put down the sword for a moment. You are allowed to sit beside still waters. You are allowed to be cared for. Let me restore your soul before you return to what must be faced. My beloved child, there are battles that require action, and there are battles that require surrender. Wisdom learns the difference. You do not need to answer every accusation. You do not need to prove yourself to everyone. You do not need to fight for access to places where love is absent. Sometimes peace is the victory. Sometimes leaving is the victory. Sometimes asking for help is the victory. My beloved child, your story is not a story of someone who survived alone. It is a story of grace meeting you through. My presence, people, rest truth and unexpected kindness. Let yourself receive. Open your heart carefully, but genuinely. Allow someone trustworthy to stand beside you. Allow your body to rest. Allow your prayers to become simple. You were never called to be a lonely warrior, and as you stop measuring strength by isolation, you will begin to discover the deepest gift of this journey. The greatest gift is not only the open door, the answered prayer, or the new season. It is learning how to walk with me. In the final part, I will show you why my presence is the treasure that remains through every road, every waiting season, and every beginning. My beloved child, now that you know you were never meant to fight alone, I want you to see the deepest gift hidden beneath every part of this journey. It is not only the open door, the answered prayer, the restored relationship, or the new season. The greatest gift is learning to walk with me. My beloved child, you once believed peace would come when every problem disappeared. You thought joy would begin when the right opportunity arrived, when the waiting ended, or when the future finally made sense. But circumstances change. People come and go. Seasons begin and end. If your peace depends only on what happens around you, your heart will always be vulnerable to the next change. My beloved child, I am teaching you to build your life around my presence. Walking with me means you do not have to understand every turn before taking the next step. It means you can face a quiet season without calling yourself forgotten. It means you can receive a blessing without making it your identity. My beloved child, you do not need to create a spiritual performance. I do not ask you to sound impressive. I ask you to remain near. Tell me when gratitude rises. Tell me when you feel nothing at all. A real relationship includes honesty. You sometimes avoid me when you feel ashamed. You think you should fix yourself before returning, but distance does not heal shame. Returning does. My beloved child, come back quickly. Do not spend days hiding because of one failure. Confess what happened. Receive correction. Make the necessary change. Then continue walking. A child learning to walk does not become disowned after falling. My beloved child, I am patient with your process, but I am also calling you to grow. Walking with me means allowing my truth to shape your choices. It is not only feeling comfort, it is learning obedience, humility, courage, and love. Sometimes my presence will calm you. Sometimes it will challenge you. Sometimes I will ask you to wait. Sometimes I will ask you to move. My beloved child, closeness does not mean you will always hear the answer you prefer. It means you will learn to trust my heart even when my direction stretches you. Remember the disciples on the road to Emmaus. They walked in disappointment because they believed their hope had ended. I came near and walked with them, though they did not recognize me at first. My beloved child, I was present before they understood. As they walked, I opened the scriptures and helped them see the story differently. What they had interpreted as final defeat was part of something greater. You may also recognize my presence after the fact. You may look back and realize I was guiding you through a conversation, a delay, a closed door, or a season you thought had no purpose. My beloved child, do not assume I am absent simply because recognition is slow. Keep walking. Understanding may come along the road. The disciples later realized their hearts had been burning within them while I spoke. My presence had been working before their eyes could identify it. My beloved child, this is why you must learn to notice the quiet signs of companionship. The strength that appeared when you thought you had none. The peace that came without a complete answer. The person who arrived at the right time. The warning that helped you pause. The courage to begin again. These are not always accidents. They may be reminders that you are being accompanied. There will be roads where you feel strong and roads where each step is slow. I will not love you more on the strong road or less on the slow one. I am not measuring you against another person's pace. My beloved child, walk at the pace of honesty. Do not run to impress people. Do not stop because someone else is moving faster. Do not force a season that requires patience. Stay responsive to my guidance. My beloved child, I know your condition. I know when to lead you beside still waters. I know when to guide you through a valley. I know when to let you rest and when to ask you to rise. Trust the shepherd more than the landscape. My beloved child, you have spent so much time asking what I am sending you. Now ask who you are becoming as you receive it. Are you becoming more peaceful, more honest, more compassionate, more willing to listen, more able to release control? The true evidence of a new season is not only that your surroundings change, it is that your heart begins to reflect a deeper trust. My beloved child, the door matters, but the person walking through it matters too. The promise matters, but the relationship formed during the waiting matters more. The answer matters, but knowing my voice is the treasure you can carry into every future question. My beloved child, one day you may look back and realize that the greatest miracle was not that I changed your circumstances quickly. It was that I taught you how to remain steady while circumstances changed. You learned to pray without performing. You learned to wait without losing hope. You learned to move without complete understanding. You learned to rest without guilt. You learned to receive help. You learned to return. My beloved child, this is the life I am forming in you. Not a life without storms, but a life with an anchor. Not a life without questions, but a life with a trusted guide. Not a life without weakness, but a life that knows where strength comes from. So as this message comes to its close, do not leave with pressure to become perfect. Leave with one simple invitation. Walk with me today. Take the next step with me. Carry the next responsibility with me. Release the next burden to me. Celebrate the next joy with me. My beloved child, I am not only waiting at the destination. I am beside you on the road. I was with you when the old door closed. I was with you in the silent season. I was with you when fear made your steps tremble. I was with you when movement began, and I will be with you in whatever comes next. My beloved child, do not reject what I am sending because it looks unfamiliar. Receive it with discernment, humility, and peace. But remember that no gift is greater than my presence. The road may change, the scenery may change, your responsibilities may change, but my love remains. Walk with me when the answer comes. Walk with me when the answer waits. Walk with me when the path is bright. Walk with me when the road passes through shadow. My beloved child, this is where true peace begins. Not in controlling every outcome, not in knowing every detail, not in being strong every moment. True peace begins when your heart can say, wherever you lead, I will not walk alone. And when you live from that truth, every season becomes a place where grace can meet you. The greatest gift is learning to walk with me. Keep walking, my beloved child. I am here.